Hey, Riddle here. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you're a subscriber. Can I just say, there's some pretty sucky videos out there and some pretty sucky YouTube people who never respond to your comments and blah, blah, blah. And they have thousands of hits on their videos and zillion subscribers. I've been at this for like, I don't know, 20 years now. And I'm prolific with my videos. I cover really what I think interesting original content or reinforce things that people should already know. But my algorithms suck. They suck to the point like, should I continue to do this? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. There was a man who recently discovered though that there's this weird thing that these external algorithms can go against your actual algorithms, which wouldn't surprise me in regards to Google having to pay people for adware and what have you. And that's the thing I can think of is I have these, and these external algorithms that he was discussing, they're not even watching people's videos. They just create this anti-algorithm that keeps you, that kind of penalizes you and stops YouTube from recognizing your traffic or interest in your channel or videos. And that doesn't seem very fair, does it? But anyway, I'm just saying, I am starting to feel this less and less. But I'm going to show you what's going on so far, what I got going on in the orchard. So we've been here about 2.5 years, and I've added a lot. I have a different perspective on homesteading right now. And it's something that people really don't want to talk about, but that's fine because I'm going to be prepared. And it doesn't have to do with the they and the thems and the what have you. It has to do with the fact that I've been growing things since I was a child. And when you're connected to the earth in that way, and I've lived off the land for decades and did various parts of my life in between living in megalopolises, but I always return back to the land. And the fact is, the earth has changed and it's changing. And I've been telling people for years that it's changing faster than what we understand or what we will accept. So, regardless of the science, politics, or reasons, do you want to be prepared for those changes or do you want to starve? Because many crops around the world, especially the last 3 years, have failed everywhere. This is why you're going to see chocolate disappear and olive oil prices and olives go through the roof or become unobtainable. And so what I'm doing on the property here, because we're in a very strange microclimate, so it's tricky growing things up here on the mountain because we can go as warm as an 11. Technically, if you look at our zone, we're 9-11. But it can get hotter than 11, or we have really strong frosts. Just had a frost the other night, a mild frost. So that makes it really tricky to do tropical things, or if it gets too warm, the stone fruit's gonna fail. Right now, we still have beautiful stone fruit. Look at this apple tree. Now that's an old apple tree, but I really took care of it this year. And this is the neat thing about this apple tree. Look, it's a dead old stump. Most people would have cut that out, but instead I started giving it all kinds of fertilizer, throwing my chicken, when I clean the chicken coop, throwing all the chicken manure around it and other little special things I know how to do. And she is going to produce a really beautiful quantity of apples this year that will be canned, dried, etc. So it's all about clever stuff like that. All about clever stuff like that. One of the things that I'm doing on my property, though, that I don't know anyone else who's doing this, is that I have started to plant tropical fruits and vines and berries that are actually one zone higher or two zones higher than when we actually are. So technically, they're not supposed to be here. And when we have a hard frost, it adds a lot of extra work for me because I need to go out and I have to cover everything up and I have to baby everything. And this is really tricky because we're in this weird microclimate where the weather app is not accurate. So the weather app will say 37 degree low in the evenings, and we're actually going to get a super hard frost. So you really have to be on your game when you're trying to do this in a microclimate. That being said, we had a really decently mild winter with enough frost to satisfy the stone fruit, but at the same time mild enough that a lot of my experimental tropical fruits and trees survived with a little babying. Because, if it gets too warm too fast, we're not going to have apples and pears and peaches and the things that need so many chill hours a night. A lot of people don't know that certain fruits need X amount of temperatures below a certain temperature in order to create fruit. If this happens, I want to have a ton of citrus and other tropical fruits to back me up. I'm also investing right now and putting a lot of energy into growing olives, because olives, they really kind of take care of themselves once they're established. And I make olives. It's really hard work, but it's so satisfying, and olives are medicinal. They've been around since ancient times, and I'm hoping to get enough olives eventually to be able to do my own olive oil. And when everyone else, can't afford it or won't afford it or it's unavailable, I will still have olive oil to cook with because I love it. And it's one of those really special ingredients that they show these people that live into their hundreds consume on a daily basis. So I'm going to take you on a little trip around the property, and please excuse the noise. It's a constant chore keeping up with your property, and the next door neighbors are working diligently at chopping down their first weeds this year. So here I have bananas. So what's interesting about these bananas, you can see they're going all the way down there. This was one plant, but bananas are like bamboo or like grass. One plant will create all of these pups, and then you can separate them. And that's what I did with these. I actually started them on my other property, but there wasn't enough sun there. Brought them over here, split them up, and they've been in the ground about 2.5 years now, I want to say. They have not made bananas yet because we don't get warm enough in California. But, and we don't have a long enough, really warm growing season. But I did something different this year. They tell you that at the end of the season, you're supposed to cut the bananas down to the ground to let them regrow. And this year, instead of doing that, I didn't do that. So they have a little bit of an early advantage because the tips were still alive. And so hopefully, eventually, or if climate change does excel, I will have bananas when nobody else has bananas. This viney thing all along here, those are goji berries. Again, up here with all the moisture, I've had to do a lot of disease control. But goji berries, not only do you have an amazing fruit with the berries, you can also eat the leaves and the tender shoots. They're full of antioxidants, just like the fruit is. What we have here, these are all pots of potatoes. And I grow the garlic with the potatoes because it's one of the few things you can grow together, and they have this great symbiotic relationship. Now, what's special about these potatoes is that I got these seeds from a special potato grower, and these seeds are from South America. So these are some of the original potatoes from the Andes, because I don't know if you know this, but we've got a little potato disease, potato famine going through the US right now. And like when the Irish almost starved to death, when you only plant one kind of something, you become a monoculture, you're setting yourself up for big trouble, big trouble. So I have potatoes, 3 or 4 varieties from South America and some French varieties, and along with my American potatoes, because I realized last year that that's one thing that I was really missing from my homestead were tubers. So that's another experiment. These are my olive trees. I gave them a really hard cut this year, but they take really good care of me. And this is what got me so excited about getting more olive trees and more varieties. All along here are supposed to be Jerusalem artichokes. But the problem is, I think even though I made baskets, I had someone helping me, and you know, people have good intentions when they help you, but quite often it's hard to get work done and be a teacher at the same time. And I think the baskets weren't made tight enough, and the gophers might have gone in and eaten all of the Jerusalem artichokes. Everyone says how easy they are to grow and carefree and blah, 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 but I am seeing no signs of life. I might have to take a shovel. It is still early, my sister says, but I don't know. It feels like I should be seeing something coming up at this point, and I see nothing. I also planted peas, hundreds of them along here, and like three of the peas survived. Gophers, I don't know. Someone's got to invent something for those goddamn things, because they're horrific. Beautiful old apple tree. Again, you know, most people would have cut this down, but I'm just letting her do her thing, and I'm feeding her. This is a new olive tree. It's only a couple years old. My sister gave it to me as a housewarming gift. The other one died, I lost it, but this one's a new variety. So beautiful, and it's going to make olives for the first time this year. So technically the olives make fruit every other year, but looks like mine are going to crank out a third continuous fruiting year, which is really interesting. I'm getting into grapes. I added 5 new varieties of grapes to the orchard this year. Seedless Concords, different variations of seedless Concords, and these Japanese grapes, 2 different varieties of these Japanese grapes. Queen Nina, and the other one's in the pot in the front, and these grapes are those big globe-shaped grapes. Now, sometimes when I buy things too, I'm looking at retirement. And these are very expensive, these varieties of these Chinese grapes to buy. So why am I, why am I buying them? Because in the future, I'll be able to propagate them and actually sell the plants. And that's another strategy that people don't think about when you're homesteading is, headed towards retirement. If you want a nice business that parallels your hobby, seeds and growing plants is a really good way to go. So I added a lot of berries to the property this year. A lot of berries. Along here, we have this variety of berry from Arkansas, which doesn't look like it's doing very well at all. I was kind of suspicious when it came in because it didn't look so great. But it's Kiowa, and they made like a hybrid of these, and it's supposed to be like one of the largest raspberries out there. This one has a little green left on it, but I don't know. It's so hard buying things in the mail anymore. They charge so much, and often you get them and you're like, oh my God, these things are so small and fragile. I just got totally screwed. So those are the Kiowa blackberries. Honeysuckle. A lot of people don't know that honeysuckle is actually very medicinal. It's great for inflammation, the flowers. And I call it like poor man's jasmine tea. And I love growing it, and I love harvesting the flowers and infusing them in different things and drying them for tea. Along here, I have my Japanese wine berries. Just got those in this year. They look a lot happier than those Arkansas berries. Then we're gonna go into, there's the Japanese wine berries. Then we're gonna go into the tay berries. And then the tay berries, there's the giant Russian raspberries. I actually got these from Ukraine before the war broke out, so I've yet to see the fruit, but supposedly they're very similar to the Kiowa, that it's like a giant raspberry. Got golden raspberries, more tay berries, Cape gooseberries, also known as perennial ground cherries, regular raspberries, thornless blackberries, which I love. They're doing amazing, the thornless blackberries. I've actually pulled them down because the canes were getting so long, and then pulled them down into the ground and covered them up with soil, and then just recently chopped those off. So I started with like 5 or 6 of these, and now I have 25 of them just from being tenacious with my propagation. Hope that made sense. There's a beautiful rhubarb. Rhubarb doesn't do great here, but it's alive. And then these are all thornless. So as we get to the end here with the thornless, oh, look at these flowers. So you can tell the berries are gonna be huge. Look how giant those flowers are. Happy, happy. Cool. So as we get to the end here, these were wild raspberries and wild roses that were already here. So I decided, you know, when there's something already doing well in the ground, take advantage of that. I'm going to show you another great example of that in a minute. And what I mean by that is I started to water them, started to throw some chicken manure around them. So now, you know, they'll not only be alive, but now they're going to produce even better fruit, because the wild blackberries are just great. You know, they just kind of take care of themselves. This is a real interesting one. You can see it's covered with flowers right now. And I need to bring more of these over because I actually domesticated these. You can see we're under a big redwood tree right now. And this is actually a wild berry that grows in the Santa Cruz Mountains called a thimbleberry. And they're one of the few berries that can grow under redwood trees. They don't need light, they love the acidity, and they will produce one time this large, beautiful edible berry. And I transplanted them here to see how they would do, and they're doing great. So that means I'm gonna go out to the wilds and get some more of these and get them planted here, and have something that other people don't even realize is an available resource. So that's all wild blackberry back there. Got our chicken coop going on here. This, you know, I have tried everything to do the mushroom thing, and it's hard. Like, I've tried to keep these watered, I've tried to keep them covered. I've tried, and I've yet to be able to successfully cultivate the mushrooms on the logs, which is disappointing because it was a lot of work. But you know, you can't win at everything, I guess, right? But I did see a video that even in Oregon, where they have constant rain, we get rain and then we don't get rain for 6 months, that they still have to take the logs to wake up the mushrooms and throw them in the river, and they literally like saturate them to wake up the fruiting bodies inside of the logs. So I may have to like dig a ditch and create a similar effect and see if there's anything still alive in those logs, because it was way too much work and money to admit to failure at this point. Okay, we're gonna come over here. I'm not sure how long to make this video because I have, I think, over 260 different fruits and vines and things at the property at this point. And all of that was a combination of some stuff that was here, stuff I brought over from the other property, and stuff that I add every year to the property. This is a Szechuan pepper tree. I just learned that it could live in our zone. And so this has only been planted for a couple months, and I'm very excited to see how that will do. It's one of the secret ingredients, or not so secret ingredients, but essential ingredient in southern Chinese cooking. Blueberries. I do terrible with blueberries. I cannot grow a blueberry to save my life. This year I'm trying once again, and I've added sulfur to the soil because it's all about the sulfur. It's all about the soil acidity with blueberries. So we'll see what happens. They're looking better than they usually do for me. There's also one struggling hidden over there somewhere, along with a passion vine, a passion flower vine. I bought 7 different types of passion flower vines and only one survived. And it's on my list, my orchard list. Let's see if we can find it in here really quick. Passion vine naturally like to grow on the edge of the woodlands, so they need that perfect environment, that mix between sun and shade to do really, really well. Here we are, looking happy. See the leaves here? And it's vining up into here. So yeah, I think she's gonna do great. Passion fruit's interesting. It's got a really nice flavor. And the vines are also really great for the environment. Many different butterfly species will live out their life cycle on passion fruit vines. This is, if I remember right, a golden currant, which I got because my Polish friend Ola said they're just delicious. These are all variations of currants and different types of mixtures of currants and gooseberries. This is a mix between a currant and a gooseberry. It looks really happy, and I think I saw flowers on it. These take a couple years before they actually will fruit for you, but they look really happy. These over here are actual gooseberries, and I only got like 5 or 6 last year. It's weird. This one is taking its time leafing out. Not sure what's going on, but they've grown a lot in 2 years. They've grown. It's another type of poor man's gooseberry here. It's looking super happy, and we've got all these new shoots coming from the bottom that I'll be able to propagate to make more bushes. These are French potatoes. I have to put them in pots because the gophers, if I don't put that bag on top of chicken wire, the gophers will come right through the ground and eat all of those. It's just, they're so tenacious. These are different nectarines and peaches that we actually started from seeds. And it's a constant battle with the leaf curl, constant. I'm trying to stay organic, and I kind of use a combination, variations of copper powder, and someone just turned me on to kaolin clay. And I found the kaolin clay almost works better than the copper powder. It's another peach. They're still babies. They need time. This is a mulberry, Chinese mulberry, the forming mulberries, very exciting. The leaves are also edible and medicinal. This is a type of fig. I believe it's a common fig, like a mission, or it might be a brown fig. I got my figs all mixed up, but I also did some grafting on this, and hopefully at least one will take. The grafts they sent me were a little thick, but the graft I did was for this striped French honey fig thing. So, and I'm kind of new to grafting. I'm no great expert. This is a pre-existing old pear tree. This is lemon guava. So the guava, that's something new that I've introduced that isn't quite our zone. One of those fruits I was telling you about. Right here, you're looking at a black Arkansas apple. It's doing really well, but it hasn't blossomed yet. Might be another year or two before we get some blossoms on her. This was a real experiment, but look, it's coming back to life. So please, fingers crossed, because it was so expensive. This came from Top Tropicals in Florida, and it's a peanut butter fruit tree. Really experimental. Please pray for my poor peanut butter fruit tree. Then over here, we've got black currants. Again, I think these struggle because they're so close to the redwood tree, we may have some toxicity going on with the root system, but still alive. This is one of our wild plums. Really nice, oval shape, super tart. She, oh, look, there's plums. Yes. First time she's made plums. That's exciting. These, if these work out for your zone, this is one of the most carefree, one of the healthiest, most delicious fruits that you can imagine. And you can eat the flowers too. It's a pineapple guava. And this is the pineapple guava also, but this was like a topiary, and this one is growing like a bush. And once these things take off, they're completely carefree, and they get giant. And the fruit, you eat the skin and everything, and you can make amazing cocktails with them. It's just getting buds on it right now. So exciting. Love this fruit so much. I've got 5, I think, or 6 pomegranates. But again, they struggle. I'm still waiting. Sometimes it like teases me. It'll get full of flowers and all the flowers fall off. Yeah, I don't know about this one. Tangelo, again, the citrus up here is sketchy. Sometimes it does okay, sometimes it struggles. She's struggling. She's new though. That is a loqua. That was just planted a couple months ago. Fingers crossed on the loqua. That's one of those tropical experiments I was telling you about. This survived the winter, which really surprised me. This is a Thai guava, a pink guava. And you can tell she took some hits with the frost, but she's growing back. So yeah, I got a lot of hope for her. Over here, these are some rare colored finger limes. Finger limes are kind of mysterious. They were introduced to the United States about 10, 12 years ago. And look them up. They're also called caviar limes. Right now they're expensive gourmet thing, and usually you can only find the green ones. But when you break them open, they grow like little fingers, and when you break them open inside, they look like fish eggs, but they taste really like this deep, deep lime flavor. And I was able to find a grower in Florida that could legally send me the different colored ones. So there's a crimson, this crazy orange, a bubblegum pink, and we've got flowers. First time I'm gonna get fruit from this. Oh man, I'm stoked. So loqua, here we have the Asian pear. Last year, this pear had so much fruit on it, it couldn't even bear it. So this year she's taking a break. I get it. This is a Maribel plum, little yellow plum, and she has not produced flowers yet. She's been in the ground for a couple years now. She's growing beautifully, but no flowers yet. Something heavy was on this poor thing. Shit. This is a Damson plum, one of my favorite plums. It produced really heavy last year, and this year has decided to take a break. This is some kind of super groovy, another type of mulberry, but a friend gave it to me, and she's not a plant person, and I think she gave me 2 different plants here. If anyone can recognize the leaves of this, I have no idea what it is. You can see from the stems that she gave me more than one plant, but here's, I think, the actual mulberry over here. And then here is something else. And because she's not into plants, she cannot help me with this. Cherries do really well for us. We got that in the ground last year, and I'm gonna have to cover it this week because, as you see, we got some nice cherries forming. She's really young though. This totally underrated berry. And I need to find some other species with larger berries, because I think there's service berries that have larger berries, because these are really small but super delicious. But this is going to have to be covered and protected also. This is a service berry. It's a wild berry, and they're awesome, and they're beautiful year-round. It blooms beautiful, then it produces the berries, then it's green, and then it turns this beautiful scarlet color in the fall. It's another struggling pomegranate. Over there, I have 3 actual huckleberries. They like shade though, and they're up against the fence to give them that shade semi-shade, I guess I'm looking right now. And they're like blueberries. They need a lot of acidity, so I had to treat them with sulfur also. Pears, another cherry back there. This is a Chilean guava. So we'll see if that works out. That's very new. It's only been in the ground about 6 months. Old pear tree, Cara Cara orange. It's amazing that she is alive. I'm so happy. She's not looking great, but it's, you know, like I said, it's early spring and they survived the winter. But the Cara Caras are delicious, and she was really well rooted for about 5 years and in the ground when I took her out of the ground and transplanted her to this property. So I'm just happy she even survived. I have a bunch of different types of kumquat hybrids. This one's Indio Mandarin quat, kumquat. Here we have another mulberry full of fruit. Old pear, but they're happy, full of fruit this year. Tons of fruit on these old pears. This is a dwarf, beautiful dwarf nectarine. There is another pomegranate bush, hasn't produced flowers yet. Here is another beautiful old pear. I think this might be like a red pear. This is my apricot tree, which got diseased. It was neglected before we moved in, and no matter what I do, I just can't seem to heal her. And sadly, I think eventually I'm going to have to just cut her down and plant something else here, because she's been a lot of work and I just can't seem to figure it out for her. But it happens. There's my beautiful rooster, who's becoming a bit of a bastard. He's after me right now, I can tell. Here's another beautiful fig. These are a berry that people compare to the blueberry, but they're actually in the honeysuckle family. The name will come to me in a minute. This was an experiment and they're doing really well. Haven't bloomed a lot or produced fruit this year, but you can tell that the bush is going to survive well. There's another fig. Here's another one of those berries I told you about. You have to get several different kinds. So I have 3 different kinds, a really tiny one in the front there, and then these 2. This one I thought I was going to lose. Honeyberries. These are honeyberries. Experimental. Dwarf apple tree. Dwarf apple tree. Pears. Another kumquat. She's just gonna start coming to life now. It's Marami kumquat. It's really important that you watch your tags to make sure they're not strangling out your fruit. It happens. This is a nectarine. Little nectarines on there. Again, this thing, the peach curl. I have sprayed these before they had leaves on them. After they had leaves on them. It's just a constant battle up here with this leaf curl. This is an apple. I think it's a Magnetosh. It's the first time she's producing fruit. She looks lovely. There's another cherry tree back here. I actually got some nice cuttings from the cherry tree and the serviceberry that are rooting right now in the greenhouse. Oh dear. We got a problem here. Crap. This is don't know what's going on over here. See how this half looks like it's dying, like it was sprayed with a chemical or something? This is a Italian fig. Huh. Well, that sucks. Over here, I have another kind of fig. Over there in the distance, there's 2 different types of cold, hardy avocados. These are both old pear trees. That's a giant old apple tree. It produces small apples, but they're great for cider and hard cider and jam. This is a jujube. which is yet to produce any fruit. It's a Chinese fruit. Here are a couple more finger limes, Australian finger limes here and here. This is a mandarin, struggling a bit. This is a Kalamata olive tree. She gave me a lot of great olives last year. This is a avocado in full bloom. A friend gave me this, so she has not produced fruit yet. She does this, and then a lot of times the fruit falls off. So fingers crossed. And then something weird happened. I don't know if it was the drop in temperature, but she had all these mature leaves, and suddenly they all yellowed and they're falling off. But she's producing all these beautiful new leaves. So this is gonna be interesting to see what she does. I don't know what kind of avocado she is. Again, she was a present. She was alive in a pot for a while, and now she's in the ground. This is a really nice tangerine tree. There's two types of tangerine trees. There's the spring and there's the winter. And this one produces its fruit in the winter, which is really nice to have all those fresh tangerines in the winter. Tangerine tree, that was here when we came, so I've been babying it, trying to get it to grow. This is a great lime tree. It's really growing like gangbusters. Tons and tons of these old pear trees. Old pear tree. This, I don't even know why I planted it. It's one of those crazy kefir limes that you like use the leaves for like it's very specific gourmet cooking. It's dumb. This looks really sickly, but hopefully it's gonna come back. I think it's a little too cold here for her. It's one of those variegated pink lemon trees, but God, she looks awful. This died. It was a peach tree. Oh, rooster's coming after me. Oh God, I hate those roosters. Really nice finger lime in the front here. This is I believe a peach tree we grew from a seed that I planted on top of our deer kitten that we lost a couple months ago from this weird viral disease that's a mutation of the what everyone had. It's the coronavirus. Yeah, cats get this weird mutation and it kills kittens. Horrible. This is big pear tree. I didn't plant this, but it has grown 5 times its size. This is a beautiful pomegranate. She teased me this year. She got one flower on her, and then that one flower fell off. This is another kind of dwarf apple tree. These are all through here. In the background there is it's literally called delicious plum. And then we have more pears. My lemon tree. I'm hoping my lemon tree doesn't have greening disease. It's a disease that's going through California. And look at my poor orange tree. Like, I don't know what's wrong with her. She's just a mess. Back there's different apples, old pears. This is a navel orange that's kind of struggling. This kumquat, I don't know, can't do anything to make her happy. This is a cinnamon apple. It's an old heritage apple, and they're lovely little crunchy apples that have this cinnamon aftertaste. Very cool. This is a really great cherry tree, full of cherries right now. Pears, apples, pears. These are persimmons, and persimmons are really underrated. There's lots of them up here in the mountain. She took a break last year, and she didn't make many persimmons, but you can see the flowers, these green things forming inside. Looks like she's gonna make a lot more persimmons this year, which is good. I've tried to give her food. And here's another little peach tree that we started from snatch, and here's another horrible example of leaf curl. Bleh. Guess I will get a closer look at my my Lyme disease has been horrible. This really needs mowed down, but I'm in a fight with my spouse right now to choose a decent mower, a riding mower, because I just can't do it by hand anymore. So both of these are cold hardy avocados, fingers crossed, because avocados are another thing that are being threatened right now because the lack of water in Mexico. So it's going to be nice to have our own avocados, fingers crossed. It's another apple tree over there, another old apple tree. That's pretty much it. Well, maybe I'll take you to the front real fast and show you what we have going on there. All right. That crazy thing, I had hawks grabbing the chickens, and so I made these things that look like large birds flying around, and the hawks have left the chickens alone since I did that. Having the grass growing out a little bit has helped also. I also hung the colorful kites up. I have another one to hang up still, and those have really scared both the chickens and the hawks. I kind of like them. I think they look cool, but that's very threatening to a hawk. Because, you know, unlike a scarecrow, I have scarecrows too, this thing moves. So it actually looks like it's alive. This is gonna bloom any day now. Beautiful pink floribunda roses. Golden bamboo, raised beds. This is a great success story. It was a wild blackberry that was dying. It was a weed that was just in this corner, scraggly little half dead thing. And I'm like, if I water it and give it some food, this is literally 1 year later of just giving it a little love. And these wild blackberries are gonna produce amazing berries this year. And if you cut them after the berries are done, if you cut them back really good, sometimes they'll produce a second round of berries. But look at that, just amazing. And I've started pulling these out and planting them along the fence all around the property. We're almost done here. Horseradish and herbs galore, strawberries, herbs. All of these have been in, they're getting massive. This is, it'll be 3 years in October. Coming down here, more pears. She didn't produce last year, but she's gonna produce this year. The chicken poop really helped a lot. Goji berries, and then I have some medicinal vines, and I transplanted a lot of the blackberries along here for 2 reasons. One, if they grow on the fence, they're gonna be a deterrent somewhat for animals or people climbing over the fence because they're so vicious, and just a nice way to create privacy and use up the space. These are hardy kiwis. I have killed a lot of these, but they're amazing, and they're really expensive, and they're the size of a grape, and they hold up in the cold, and they're very expensive to buy. Even at the Chinese grocery store, they're expensive to buy. So I really wanted some of these, and it looks like I finally successfully stabilized them, because this is what they should look like when they're healthy. But it will probably be a solid 3 years before they're producing fruit. And of course, you need different varieties, and you need males and females whenever you're dealing with any kind of kiwi. More pears, butterfly ginger, passion fruit, goji berries, and. So this is where I usually do my tomatoes, peppers, ground cherries, vegetables. These cactus will produce fruit, prickly pear cactus, another great backup survival thing. All my herbs. You know, people don't know that even just your basic herbs are so medicinal and so full of vitamins. I feed them to the chickens to help with their immune systems. Roses, it's rose season. I will make my own rose oil, and I actually will put these in salads when guests come over or when we're invited to someone's house, because I don't spray any chemicals on them, and rose petals are delicious and edible and super fancy, Nancy. Spanish lavender, Portuguese lavender. So these are all my starts that I need to get in the ground. But Mr. Lyme disease has not allowed me the energy to do it. And that's pretty much it. There's some stuff hidden in the greenhouse, but nobody needs to see that. Okay, oh, that needs to go in the ground. Fukushu kumquat. Again, everything's just starting to come back because we're getting a little heat now. Yeah, I also have another grape hidden in here somewhere that needs to go in the ground, but I need to buy a length of fence for it. All right, that's it. If you like my quick money-saving tips, garden wisdom, rants, raves, art, and occasional magic, please subscribe and share. It helps. Have a great day and take care of yourselves and take care of each other, because I believe how we treat each other in the streets is our ultimate reality.